Yeah, good morning, Sarah. Thank you very much. Got 3 cabinet level members here. President Trump will be arriving later today, and literally trillions of dollars of net value of corporate America here in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon University. We're going to be here all day through the president's talk, and we are pleased to kick off our coverage live with the Secretary of Energy, Chris Wright. Secretary Wright, great to chat with you again.
Great to be here, Brian.
Wow, the number went from $70 billion in private capital investments to $90 billion already today. We're seeing firms like BlackRock, who will be on with us in the next hour, and others kick in a bunch of money. What is the highest and best use of that money? There's a lot of capital coming to energy right now. If you were to direct it to where it should go, where would that be?
Well, I think the great thing about the Trump administration is we don't believe we should direct the capital. We think businesses and consumers should direct that capital. But, Brian, my suspicion is you're going to see large data centers built here in this state. Pennsylvania is an energy powerhouse. Its production is limited only by its ability to get it out to marketplace via pipelines. So it's easy to ramp up Pennsylvania natural gas production right here in the state and generate electricity right there, build data centers, build semiconductor manufacturing, build any kind of reshored manufacturing in this state.
You know, and we're going to talk about permitting with Interior Secretary Burgum here coming up very soon, because they're more on the permitting side. PJM, and I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but they're the grid operator for 60 million Americans across 13 states. They're at peak power today. There's a report out from the DOE, your office, that there could be a 100-fold increase in blackouts in 5 years if we don't solve the energy. I don't want to call it a shortage yet, right? It's not a shortage yet, but we're close to major blackouts. How do we fix that?
We are. Well, thank God President Trump won the election, or I don't think we would have fixed that. We would both have lost the AI arms race, and we'd have massively more blackouts. And the answer is we just got to make it easy to build stuff in America again. You know, these Clean Power Plan 2.0 Biden administration made it basically virtually impossible to build a new natural gas or a new coal plant. Well, that's the biggest sources of electricity. Together with nuclear, that's what runs our country. So in this administration, we're going to make it much, much easier to build new power plants, new infrastructure, even transmission lines, natural gas pipelines. We're going to build the energy infrastructure to supply the demands. It's pretty much common sense.
Well, you know, the governor of this fine state, the Keystone State, is a Democrat, Josh Shapiro. So shouldn't this be a nonpartisan issue, Mr. Secretary? Forget about Democrat, right, left, red, blue, whatever. Build, build, build.
Absolutely. Energy is the infrastructure that makes everything else possible in life. Of course it should be nonpartisan. You should be pro-energy. Pro-energy.
Solar's energy, wind is energy. Those are energy sources that have their uses, and they can be very useful in many places.
Absolutely. You know, for us, our opposition to solar and wind is the subsidies. The government's been paying people to build wind and solar, and the impacts have not been good. They've just driven up electricity and destabilize the grid. Real quick on the Biden administration, you know, he ran promising to end fossil fuels. Well, the year before he got elected, fossil fuels provided 82% of U.S. energy. In his last year in office, they provided 82% of U.S. energy. So that's just such a naive, destructive view. You're going to end something that's 82% of our energy? And trying to end it just made it more expensive. He just drove up the prices for consumers. He went into wind and solar and batteries, like you said, and they did move from rounds to 2% of U.S. energy to today rounds to 3%.
Well, because energy demand is also growing. Energy demand was pretty constant in America for about 15 years, and now it's going up because of why we're here. You've got, you know, Meta, Facebook yesterday saying they want to build a 5-gigawatt data center. Now, for most of Americans, what does 5 gigawatts mean? Well, it means a couple million homes worth of power.
Yes.
Do we have if we don't do this, we lose the race to countries like Saudi Arabia that have the power, because you can put a data center pretty much anywhere you want. Can we meet that demand?
Yes, we can. This is America, and this is the Trump administration. America's open for business. 100% we can meet that demand. We have to change the way we were rolling. We have to permit things quickly and efficiently. We got to make investors in capital feel comfortable that the rules are going to enable them to move fast so they don't have to build it somewhere else. China's got 80 coal plants under construction. You know, we're fiddling around saying, are we going to build something? We need to build a lot.
Very quickly, we've got to get back to Sarah. OPEC, I was there last week in Austria. They're raising their production output 548,000 barrels a day. Do you agree with OPEC's increased production?
Yeah, look, oil prices where they are today are very favorable for global economic growth. Are they on the low end of what works for American producers? Yeah, they probably are. But I think it's in a pretty healthy place right now, and we want the economy to continue to grow, not just in the United States, but globally.
Secretary Wright, kicking off our coverage. We had Senator McCormick on earlier today on Squawk Box, but we appreciate you being with us here live. I know you got a busy event, big event. Thank you very much for spending some time with us.